In what is now being called one of the most combative and unabashed political assaults in the history of post-apartheid politics, Democratic Alliance leader John Steenhuisen has officially declared war on the African National Congress. Speaking in Parliament during a session already characterized by outrage, disruption and incredul, Steenhuisen wasted no words. With passion in his voice and belief in his words, he called President Sir Ramaphosa nothing short of a criminal incumbent. The House was stunned for a moment after his words pierced the den. And then, as if a match had been set alight, pandemonium broke out. ANC members bellowed in protest, with some standing and hurling fingers of accusation, others banging their desks in indignation. The Speaker called for order, but the damage had been done. Steenhuisen had crossed a threshold few opposition leaders had dared to cross. He had removed the veneer of statesmanship from Ramaphosa and portrayed him as a man involved in corruption, mismanagement, and betrayal of the people of South Africa. For many throughout the nation, this moment was years in the making. South Africa has been struggling with profound and unresolved crisis. The economy, weakened by the pandemic and years of state capture, remains limping along with subdued growth and record joblessness. Memories of corruption remain fresh in the public psyche, from the Zondo Commission's revelations to rumors of backdoor negotiations and lucrative government contracts. In addition to this, the incessant rolling blackouts have paralyzed business and worn down public tolerance. While poverty and inequality continue to widen the gap between the political class and common citizens, Steenhuisen's statement drew on this reservoir of anger in a way that few speeches had hitherto. His words were not encased in policy speak or leavened by the customary politeness of politics. They were direct, incensed and calculated to stir up trouble, and they succeeded beautifully. Stepping into the podium with a clear air of frustration, Steenhuisen delivered a trenchant attack on the ruling party, not only its rule, but also Ramaphosa himself. He accused the president of protecting corrupt elites, turning a blind eye to the affliction of ordinary people, and leading a government that robs its own citizens while feigning to fight their liberation. Gas rippled through the House with every allegation. The Speaker attempted to restore order several times, but the indignation was too hot. ANC MPs yelled Steenhuisen down, branding his language defamatory and incendiary. DA members, on the other hand, stood their ground, banging on the desk to support their leader, their voices carrying above the din. And then was the line which brought everything to a halt. "We have a criminal in office. Not a president, not a leader, but a man who hides behind the Constitution while violating it with every breath." Those words cut deeper than political showmanship. They went straight to the heart of Ramaphosa's painstakingly constructed public persona as an unflappable, unflustered, and morally SPRY leader. A man who vowed to restore order to the mess that Jacob Zuma had left behind. Issued by the official opposition leader, the charge carried the full weight of parliamentary seriousness. The ANC was taken aback. For a party that is already grappling with its own internal fissures, Steenhuisen's tirade reopened old sores. Younger MPs, particularly those who had come out in support of Ramaphosa's reform faction, appeared agitated, some visibly shaken by the intensity of the tirade. Some responded sharply, calling Steenhuisen a racist agitator who uses the suffering of black South Africans as political cover. But even in the midst of the shouting and orchestrated outrage, one fact became impossible to ignore. The ANC was no longer inviolable. For Ramaphosa himself, it is more than another bout of opposition rhetoric. It is a personal challenge to his credibility and perhaps even his survival as ANC leader. Already embroiled in internal factional battles with opponents hovering and allegiances changing, Ramaphosa is now confronted by a mounting tide of demands for an official parliamentary investigation into his involvement in several scandals. They encompass the notorious failure farm scandal, dubious pandemic procurement contracts, and shrouded in secrecy campaign funds that have not been explained. If Steenhuisen's challenge takes off, Ramaphosa may find himself cornered. A no-confidence vote, a judicial inquiry, or even diplomatic embarrassment may all hang over him. For a president who once styled himself as the man to bring dignity back to South Africa's leadership, being branded a criminal in office is catastrophic. But the impact of this assault goes wider than the man himself. It marks a new era for the Democratic Alliance. The DA has labored for decades to overcome the accusations that it is too lenient on the ANC, too fixated on policy jargon, and too out of touch with the bulk of South Africans. Steenhuisen's impassioned statement is an unmistakable departure from that reputation. This is not a party discussing incremental policy adjustments. It is a party calling out a flat-out war against the current regime. By going after Ramaphosa directly, Steenhuisen is taking a gamble on the eye and weariness of regular South Africans. He is wagering that the voters are no longer interested in subtlety in opposition but in uncompromising in-your-face leadership that articulates their frustrations and going by the instant reaction on social media, talk radio and public debate that bet may be paying out. Clips of his address went viral within hours with hashtags trending and commentators discussing whether this was the moment of reckoning that could shake the ANC's decades-long hold on power. The question is now whether Steenhuisen's tirade will unite the ANC behind Ramaphosa or speed up the party's slide into oblivion. In the past, times of external assault have at times made the ANC more united, enabling it to present itself as victim to opposition smear campaigns. But this time is different. The divisions within the party run deeper than ever before, with factions vying for ascendancy and youth generations less devoted to the ANC liberation tradition. Steenhuisen's words will not bring unity to the party. Potentially they will serve to widen its divisions. To South Africans outside, the drama in Parliament is both appalling and oddly invigorating. Many citizens have been ignored for years by a politic class that talks endlessly while poverty and inequality worsen. Steenhuisen's outburst, be it applauded or criticized, was a break in that cycle, a moment in which someone finally spoke with outrage growing in the country. And of course, detractors call it politics, political theater, a publicity stunt rather than anything they would take seriously as a vehicle for real change. Some say Steenhuisen is being reckless, quoting instability by going after the presidency so overtly. Others say that without a vision and a will to include people, the DA cannot possibly hope to channel anger into electoral success. But however one chooses to interpret it as opportunism or courage, the truth is history is being made right before our eyes.